Hi, my name is Shirley. Today at JTech, I'm going to be talking about power flow in this 5-speed manual transmission.
Alright, now to start, we've got the input shaft over here. It has a machine surface on the end that sits in the pilot bearing. These splines right here are actually, they go through into the engine. Power would come through the input. And on this one, this counter shaft, all the gears are actually permanently meshed with each of these gears on the actual input and output. But this gear here is splined to the input, and then in between, or these gears here, where you actually select your gear, is splined to the output, which provides power to the wheels. This one is a 5-speed, and usually how you tell the gears is the smallest gear on the counter shaft that is driving the biggest gear on the output is always your first gear, because the smaller one can spin, or will spin more times to turn this bigger one, giving you more torque. And as you shift, these gears get larger while these gears get smaller, and they do they have a different effect to where whenever the larger gear is turning the smaller gear, it turns into an overdrive where the bigger gear is turning faster than the smaller gear would. Now on this exact transmission, the fourth gear here always has power going through it, and it's always shifting. But once you actually select your fourth gear, the power goes from the input all the way down through this gear and all the way out to the output, because it splines both the input and output together. You have your fifth gear here, and then you have a reverse gear back here. So it's in neutral now. And one way you can tell if it's neutral is usually you can hold the output while spinning the input, and the output will not spin. Now, to go through the gears, right now it's in neutral, so there's no power flowing to the wheels. Then you shift it. One second. Shift it into first, and then the power's coming through the input to this gear down here, all the way over to the small gear, and it turns this large gear, and then brings power here, and then goes straight to the output. And then when you want to shift, put it back in neutral. Now we're in second gear, which the power goes from the input to this gear, and over to this gear, which is a little bit larger than the last one, and it spins a slightly smaller gear than the one before on the output. And then this actually, power goes up here and then all the way to the output. And then you're going to have to shift it back to neutral. And then when you want to get third gear, you just shift it forward. And now it's in third gear, which power comes in to this gear here, down, then to this gear, which is slightly larger than the last one. Then it spins another one. Looks like it might be slightly about the same size, almost the same size. Then it goes here, and then it goes out to the output. And then on this one, like I explained, this is fourth gear. Fourth gear is a 1-to-1. So while it's doing this, the power starts here. This goes all the way through, because this is actually splining the input and output together from it going. So it's just a 1-to-1. So the drive shaft would be spinning the same speed as the engine. And that means that this counter shaft was just on for the ride at this moment. It's not providing anything. Put this back to neutral, and you come over here, and you have your fifth gear, which is you have a larger gear spinning a smaller gear, which this is now an overdrive gear. And then you just shift this back to neutral. Then back here in the back, I'll come around and let you see it. You actually have your reverse gear. And to put it in reverse, it would go backwards. And if you watch, now this side is spinning in reverse than the input. Input spinning this way, output is spinning the opposite way, and it's moving a lot slower, and it's a little harder to turn. Now if you shift it back out of reverse, back into fifth, you see this is spinning a lot faster than the input, because the output is being driven by the smaller gear is being driven by a larger gear. And that is the power flow on this 5-speed manual transmission.